Oh, I'm hoping we're live with no interruptions. How y'all doing today? It's time for another session here with this week in supervision, and we've got some stuff to talk about as usual that I want to jump into. I gotta hurry up. I can't be talking real slow like that because we got a lot to cover in just a couple of minutes because I've got something set up at noon. All right. And so we want to get with it, right? And so today we're going to be talking about some of the unforeseen things that we often might find in autism. Okay. A lot of times, some of us are not necessarily uh, treating autism per se, um, as far as offering psychotherapy services to individuals with autism. But there is a reason, there are some reasons why we really kind of need to know about these disorders um, from a kind of global perspective. In other words, autism is just not in one box. You have different aspects of autism. You have individuals who have severe autism. You have individuals whose autism is not that severe. And then we have Asperger's that's pocketed into the spectrum as well. There's been some changes in the DSM concerning that. Now, if I'm not treating that, you might be thinking, why do I need to know about that? Well, there are reasons that you need to know because it can directly impact the way that you are providing care to those individuals that you are supporting. Okay. Because a lot of times we're not just working with those individuals who have autism ourselves. Sometimes it's undiagnosed. That's another thing. So we need to, and I don't want to get into all the reasons. We'll get into that in just a second, into some of that. Oh, and we only have 8 minutes, so we got to go through this really quickly. What I'm going to do, just before we get into that, I do want to talk with you a little bit about what we have coming up, what we have scheduled as far as our upcoming trainings. So I just have 30 seconds to get on that. We have a free training coming up, y'all, and I want to get into that. Um, and free for Social Workers Alabama. So if you're not a part of that, then join. Um, and it's going to be on life after the rainbow, helping clients through pet and grief loss. This is a major thing. Uh, I've seen it a lot with seniors, with working with seniors, losing a pet and how that's like losing family. It can cause the same symptoms as when you grieve someone. And we're going to hear that talked about by Christina Lilly, LICSW. So I'm excited about that. So come and check us out. Then we have the social work supervisor training coming up soon in July, on July 29. Y'all come and check us out. That's about almost 2 months away. And so we've got some time, and this is a great opportunity to improve your income. Let me switch from that because I want y'all to get this meat. All right. And then we also have the DSM-5 training coming up for those of you all who are LICSWs. Is now a requirement that you get one of these, all right, from somebody. Probably be best us, right? I hope. All right. DSM-5, we got that on June 14th, and we got some special guests. Come check it out. And then if you want to just do this at home on your own time, all right. I just got a shot of my boy sent something out. It was like, yo, I'm just reclining, watching the DSM train. It was really motivating to see that. And he's doing it on his own time. You can do it on your own time, start and finish on your own time. All right, we gotta get going, y'all. I think that's everything. So I want to show you. So a lot of times I'm doing it a little bit different today, right? So today I'm coming from the perspective of actually I have supervision coming up in a minute, right? And so usually I'm telling you what we've talked about in supervision. Today I'm going to show you what we plan to talk about. And so I have like 4 groups. And so a lot of times this changes as I go. But there's some things that I have studied and I've been noticing that I don't think that we're all aware of. That's to tell me that supervision is coming up. That I don't believe that we're always aware of that's really important. I'm not going to be able to get to show it all, but this is how I'm going to start off this session, right? So I like to many times start off the session with a compelling video. And so if I could figure out how to share it, that's what we're going to do. And a lot of times when you get video, you want to get something that like a lot of times my supervision is in the evening and people are half sleep. And so you want to get something that's going to kind of wake them up. Um, and get them interested in what we're talking about. And so that's what I try to do, and that's what I try to do in this video. So I want you all to observe this video and tell me what you think about it. Credit to KT, Chris, and um, this is a very disturbing video, especially if you're the parent. But let me just get to it because we don't have a lot of time. Let me get to it, man. All right. I hope y'all can hear it. We're gonna share. Tell me, as if we were. Let me just play it.
Come here. Come here. Come here. I know you can't come, brother. You can't come. Come here. I need King Kong. I need King Kong. I need King Kong. I need him. I need King Kong, bro. Yo, you won't do something to work, but I need King Kong. I know, but I need King Kong right now. Yo, King Kong, come and save me. Come and save me, King Kong. Come and save me. Yo, King Kong, come and save me. Come here. Come and save me.
Okay, let's stop it there. And I'm assuming that none of these individuals were the parent. But I can't even assume that because many times in cases like this, the child may not respond even to the parent. And that's a very troubling video. Some of y'all may have seen it circulating through social media. And so the thing is that from the perspective, I got to hurry up. From the perspective of, and this is how I would start off the group, from the perspective of a professional, being a professional in this field does not mean that this is our specialty, but by definition, for lack of a better term, we are trained to be able to, we are supposed to have a baseline understanding of what's going on in these scenarios and situations. And we get a lot of that when we test for the license, right? We need to have a baseline understanding. And so the question would be is what is your observation concerning this video? If you were given if you were to give a professional opinion about what you just observed, what would it be? And so that's how we start off the group. And I'll try to see if I could put the link in. I think this is a great discussion. This is how we would start this off. I'm not going to be able to get deep into it, right? But what we basically want to do is find out what are you observing here? And from a clinical perspective, we should see some things, okay? And so that's what we're testing the group to see if they understand. You could see from what was going on with this kid. Obviously the parent wasn't around, the kid was not able to be controlled, and this is what brought me to talk about this, because I saw a couple situations just within the past week or so to where parents were having to be one-on-one with kids that had similar behaviors, and this is also a more severe case. So what would be your estimation of a diagnosis and things like that? And so I would say that it's likely that this child has that's their ASD, autistic spectrum disorder. And so if that's the case, what did you see? What would you observe? What's going on? I'm seeing, you might have saw some repetitive behaviors like the hand flapping, the yelling and screaming, which we also know as repetitive vocalizations, and pacing back and forth. This could indicate a pattern. This behavior indicates like repetitive behaviors that falls under that repetitive category. When you look under ASD, it's pretty much two categories, and one deals with the social and communication. The other deals with some of the repetitive behaviors or restrictive behavior, restrictive repetitive patterns. Okay. And so these are some things too. Also, what did you see? What else did you see? We saw that it seems like, man, there's some deficits in their ability to communicate, right? Because somebody's talking to them, they're not responding in a way that you might see from a child that's not diagnosed with autism. We know from a professional standpoint, you can tell kind of by the movements of the child that there's something that's going on there, and it's suggestive of this type of thing. Now, there were questions that we would be asking the supervisees, some additional questions. When we think about autism and risk factors of individuals with autism, what comes to your mind? Some of the things that might not come to mind that I'm going to be highlighting is the mortality of a child that or individual that has autism. It's many studies are suggesting that the mortality rate is much that they live a lot, that we live longer. They don't. Okay. Um, Also, believe it or not, and so this is something to know, because believe it or not, there's suicide, that the incidences of suicide with individuals that have a diagnosis of autism are significantly higher. And this research is kind of untouched. We're just now getting around to this. And a crazy thing is that and I'm squeezing this all in, that most recently, I think a 2017 study indicated that there was a 700% increase, I believe, 700% in the past 16 years, and were three times, I think it was a 700% increase in diagnosis. My stuff is cut off here. Individuals with found that deaths okay, in 2017, a study showed it found that deaths in individuals with autism increased 700% in the last 16 years. That was back then. So there's so much that we're learning about autism, right? And the risk factors. Another question when we're talking about risk factors, and why is this important? Why is this important? Because many times we have, if we're working, not even doing psychotherapy, we're working with parents that may have gotten a new diagnosis, might not have been much educated. It could be a small child. They don't know that their child is the number one and I want to say this right, but basically number one cause of death with children with autism diagnosed with children diagnosed with autism is, guess what? Drowning. Drowning. So just simple things that we want to help our parents to know and understand, and also being able to understand the stresses that they're under. Some of them may have been already aware. So you have a client that comes in and they tell you that they have an autistic child. They say the autistic child, it has significant impairments, or it's just a lot that they're having to do. This is giving me an idea of what I'm working with concerning the mental state of that parent. And the more that I know about this condition, even if I'm not treating it, the better of a clinician I'm going to be able to be, because I know that they may have concerns or may have knowledge that their child may not live as long as other children, that they may have to care for this child for the rest of the child's life, depending on how significant it is. But then on the flip side, we got another question. What are some of the primary limitations of those who have been diagnosed with autism? That's not what I'm looking for, because everybody that has autism is not severe as this case that we saw. So when we think about autism and the risk factors of individuals with autism, what comes to mind? We went over that. That's not what I'm looking for. We will also ask, if you don't look at if you don't look at a diagnosis with autistic individuals, edit. Why are those diagnosed with autism at a higher risk for suicide? That's a great question to go over, right? Okay, that's not even the one I'm looking for. Why is it important for mental health therapists to know about the risk factors? Okay, and there was a lot of things that I wanted to talk about here. But the question that I was going to ask is, if you have someone who is diagnosed with autism, and we're looking at risk factors, and they have a higher level of IQ versus a lower level of IQ, which of the two is going to be most at risk for depression and suicide? Interesting facts and statistics show that the person with maybe 120 IQ or higher, the higher functioning person, the person who's out programming and doing these jobs and making good money and things like that. And autism doesn't always look like the way that we see it. It may be in your office today, whatever you're doing in social work. I wanted to highlight that with my clinicians. I will be doing that to help them to be more in tune, to be able to understand how to treat it, but also understand how to treat individuals who have family members who are experiencing it. I guess I just did my regular time anyway. I'm running a little late. Hope to see y'all on next week. Thank y'all for joining. Hope you learned something. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.